Hurricane Irma pushes toward Puerto Rico, with Florida in its sights. Hurricane Irma, the strongest storm ever recorded in the Atlantic outside of the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico, is bearing down on the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. The storm maintained its 185 miles per hour winds after making its first landfall on Barbuda early Wednesday. Irma is a potentially catastrophic Category 5 hurricane and will bring life-threatening wind, storm surge, and rainfall hazards to areas it affects, the National Hurricane Center says. The agency urges the completion of any emergency preparations and evacuations in the storm's path. Rain from Irma began hitting parts of the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico early Wednesday, the National Weather Service office in San Juan reports. The eye of the hurricane passed over two islands, hitting Barbuda around 1:47 a.m. and moving over St. Martin hours later. On Barbuda, wind speeds of 118 and a gust of 155 miles per hour were reported before the sensor failed. The island saw a storm surge of nearly 8 feet. Prime Minister Gaston Brown of Antigua and Barbuda said, "The Lord has protected us and we have been spared the worst of Irma." But Antigua's weather service cautions that the all-clear has still not been sounded and won't come until 11 a.m., stating, "We are still within reach of storm force winds." Irma is projecting tropical storm force winds for 175 miles from its center. A massive storm surge could bring perilous flooding and destructive waves, with a surge of 15 to 20 feet predicted for the Turks and Caicos and southeastern Bahamas. Northern Leeward Islands could see a surge of 7 to 11 feet, the Hurricane Center says. For the next 12 hours, Irma's maximum sustained winds will stay at or above 180 miles per hour, posing a dire threat to islands in its path. On Wednesday morning, it was heading toward St. Martin and prompting hurricane warnings in the Bahamas, the Dominican Republic, and other areas. The chance that Irma will make a direct impact on Florida continues to increase, the National Weather Service says, adding that it's too early to specify the timing and magnitude. In Key West, residents and business owners are now under mandatory evacuation orders from Monroe County that took effect at 7 a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday. As of Wednesday morning, Irma was moving west-northwest at 16 miles per hour. As the threat posed by the large, powerful storm has been clarified this week, the governors of Puerto Rico and Florida declared states of emergency. With a tightly defined high maximum winds and gusts of up to 195 knots or 225 miles per hour, Irma has left weather forecasters flabbergasted. "I am at a complete and utter loss for words looking at Irma's appearance on satellite imagery," NHC scientist Taylor Trogdon said Tuesday night, reacting to images of the storm's tight and powerful spiral. Irma is expected to remain a major hurricane for at least 5 days, including when it makes a predicted landfall on Florida and the U.S. mainland this weekend. With maximum sustained winds of 185 miles per hour, Irma is a Category 5, the most serious type of major hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson wind scale. Describing the kind of destruction a Category 5 storm can cause, the National Hurricane Center says, a high percentage of framed homes will be destroyed, with total roof failure and wall collapse. The agency adds, most of the area will be uninhabitable for weeks or months. By tonight, forecasters say, another hurricane will follow in Irma's footsteps. Tropical storm Jose is expected to become a hurricane by Wednesday night. Its winds are expected to top 100 miles per hour within the next 2 days. Jose, which became a named storm on Tuesday, is trailing Irma's path in the Atlantic, moving toward the Caribbean. But Jose's track is predicted to veer north earlier than Irma's, glancing off the Leeward Islands and potentially sending it over the open sea. There are not watches or warnings currently associated with the storm. There is currently a third named storm being tracked in the area, after Tropical Storm Katia formed inside the Gulf of Mexico. The storm off of the southern Mexican state of Veracruz has 40 miles per hour winds.